What's good? What's good? It's your boy B Neil. Welcome back to Bryce Reacts. We're here with another one. Today we're reacting to Joe Budden and the cast. I guess backpedaling. Iceman season got a lot of men backpedaling and giving Drake his props again after a lot of shitty takes that these guys have had over the last 2 years. Um, Mark, quote unquote, apologized after, like I said, having horrible takes. And Parks gives a little pushback, and I think it caused some interesting debate, which made me want to react to this video. So, without further more to be said, let's get into it.
Then 40, what was it?
42 out of 100 songs.
Out of 100 songs. Charted.
Yeah, you release 1,000 songs that'll happen. But no,
Hold up.
I'm joking. Listen,
okay.
I actually want to apologize
Do that.
to Drake because I think a year ago I said that he wouldn't have another #1 album after he got kind of knocked down a peg or two. Might have been a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, whatever. But I was completely wrong, man.
Whatever it was, they flow.
Yeah, I mean, that's an all-time egregious asinine take, bro. Like, I don't need to get back in that bag. It's just, I don't understand the doubting greatness and like being on that side of things. Like, it's hard for me not to see a guy do something repetitive, like or dominate like consistently, and just have doubt unless they show me something in their game or in their like psyche that like demonstrates that. And for Drake, he has never demonstrated that. He's had naysayers his whole career, bro. And throughout every album he's dropped, he's always had pressure to be great and prove the naysayers wrong and the haters wrong. From it used to be the real rap guys that's all about lyricism because they hated the melodic stuff, to it being transformed into like the backpack guys and the hype beast and stuff like that, not being on the side of being Drake fans anymore. It's like it could just, but each era of like in albums, Drake has had to deal with somebody hating it, whether it was some form of media, whatever it is, and every time he usually like exceeds expectations. The only time I feel like he never exceeded expectations was with maybe For Other Dogs. Honestly, never mind. You couldn't even have expectations because it's like, what the fuck? It just had dropped out of nowhere to me. But like out of all his albums, like maybe Dark Lane demo tapes, like them the only two albums that never went above expectations. And even then, I don't think they were bad projects. I just don't think they met like the standard that most people was expecting for him. But other than that, every other project, Drake is is killing. So it's like I don't get, like I said, I don't get seeing somebody be great and just be like, you know what, I think they're gonna fall off, and there's been nothing to like show that at all yet.
Floating it around current blogs.
Yeah. I was a prisoner of the moment. I was wrong.
Is this the best comeback?
Drake is him.
Is this the best comeback from someone like going through this moment?
Well, we haven't seen nobody be that high and go through a moment like this.
It's a pretty impressive comeback.
Hove is on one, right? Yeah, I guess so.
This is a pretty impressive comeback.
Hove lost the battle and came back.
But that's apples and oranges to this shit. It ain't about just losing a battle. I'm talking about
losing that battle was Nas coming back.
Yeah.
I'm talking about we ain't seen nobody be where he was at, deal with what he went through, had everybody say it's over, and then come back and and dominate in this fashion. You ain't never seen that.
To me, it's just a byproduct of the internet era because Hove was the greatest rapper in the world at the time when he lost the battle. It's the same premise, same skeleton of a situation.
I agree with Parks to a degree. I do think it's very similar. I even pulled up some numbers and stuff we can look at. But before we get into that, I just feel like the only thing I disagree with Parks is it was more than just Kendrick versus Drake. It was more than like how Jay-Z was just him and Nas. Like, this was literally 20v1. This was literally him going against industry execs. Now, you can maybe believe other narratives and believe everybody wasn't, like, it was a bunch of people, like, coming against him to collude to get Drake out of here. But from Drake fans, Drake perspective, and I think a pretty reasonable reality, that's what happened. And I think a lot of people, like from Lucien Grange and many other people was involved in this, from Kendrick, Dre, Dr. Dre. I even think there's people like Joe Budden, I think people in TDE, like all type of people that was like coming together to, Jay-Z, ASAP, Rick Ross, Weeknd, Metro. I think all these people came together and had a plan to get rid of Drake. And that was more than just one versus one. This was like guys trying to make an exodus moment of Drake. Like, he has to completely get out of here. It's like the fact that we use 6-7 different mouthpieces from people that's been peers or been rubbed shoulder to shoulder with him, and we all having these takes that he ain't of the culture, he's white boy, he's toxic, he's really a snake behind closed doors. Let's put all these narratives together, so maybe it makes a better story for when, like, why we trying to get him out of here. That's what is different than the Jay-Z versus Nas. Like, even with Jay-Z and Nas, it's like you can argue Jay-Z started it first, right? Let's look that up real quick. Because I'm here for the facts today. So I did a little quick research real quick. It says, the short answer is both contributed to it, but Jay-Z is generally viewed as the one who trained into all-out war. Most hip-hop historians point to Jay-Z. Performed early version of the Takeover at Summer Jam, publicly called out Nas when the Blueprint dropped. Takeover directly criticized Nas' career and credibility and took over rivalry subliminals to a full-fledged rap battle. So even with that, that makes things a lot different. And that's one of the reasons I also kind of disagree with Parks. But I will say some reasons I do agree with Parks for sure is, like, if you look at where Jay-Z was during the beef, and then like what he did after the beef, he was at similar heights and success levels when you talk about first week, albums going platinum pretty quickly. Like, he dropped the Takeover. No, I'm sorry. He dropped the Blueprint, which had the Takeover. The Blueprint sold, if you look to the right, 427 copies first week, which is right around where For All the Dogs was and stuff like that. So it wasn't, like I said, you can't not compare it. Then you go into what he dropped directly after, which was The Gift and the Curse, which sold 554,000. And then you look at what Drake just sold, he sold pretty much the same number, maybe a little bit higher, but also I count all three albums being sold. I say Drake sold pretty much shy of 700 first week after the beef. But regardless, Jay-Z was still at a pretty high level. It's just, I don't know how people criticized and looked at it versus like people picking a side versus Jay-Z and then people pick a side with Jay-Z and Nas as much as they picked a side with Kendrick and Drake. Like, I think that was a huger thing. I feel like it was way more politicized. And I also feel like with the Jay-Z and Nas thing, I don't think it was about the like anytime a beef happened, it could be the end of your career if you don't bounce back. So there's always some type of pressure. But the point of the beef wasn't trying to get Jay-Z the fuck up out of here. Jay-Z actually started the beef. So that's why I kind of disagree with Parks a little bit as well. It's like, I like to do the history, I like to do the research, and I don't want to just talk out my ass. So I had to go look at some numbers. And let me see anything else that's notable. I seen some other things down here, like just notable. The Blueprint. So like I said, I think that's the Blueprint 2, 545,000. And then you got 8 Mile soundtrack, 800K, or pretty much 700K, and nearly pretty much 700K. So like, that was a good year for music, honestly, or as far as rap sales and stuff like that. And then you just go into some of his other numbers right here. The Hard Knock Life in 1988 was 350. Volume 3, Life and Times in 99 was 460. The Dynasty 2000, 557. The Blueprint and we already kind of talked about that, 426. Blueprint 2, we already talked about that. Black 463 and Kingdom Come 680, which people kind of not that high on, and he still did kind of crazy numbers with that, almost 700. So, I mean, then you go into Drake, like, it's definitely comparable. You got Thank Me Later, 400, 450, Take Care, 630. Nothing Was the Same, 660. If You're Reading This Too Late, 530. What a Time to Be Alive, 375. Views, a mil. More Life, 500. Scorpion, 730. Care Package, which really don't count, 100. Dark Lanes, 220. Certified Lover Boy, 613. Honestly Never Mind. Then you get Her Loss and For All the Dogs with 400 and 400. And then you get, obviously, Iceman, the whole package, which dropped 700. So when you look at it, it's very similar. I get Park's take with that. But at the same time, I do think the 20v1 conversation just has to be addressed. And the fact that it was about trying to actually get him out of the culture, actually talk about him being a colonizer, culture vulture, like like just like a weirdo and shit like that. Like that's a different conversation than I think Jay-Z ever was being had with him and Nas.
Just now we live in the internet, so he had a bunch of fucking opinions and magazines and journalists and podcasters.
But Parks, the fall was steeper too,
way steeper,
like, or more precipitous or whatever. Like
how?
Drake is an international star.
There was also
Jay-Z wasn't.
Well, I wouldn't even go in there, but I agree with that.
Okay.
But my point is more like, I think Hov lost that battle. Most people collectively would say Hov lost that battle, but it was still an argument. Mm-hmm. And Hov never was looked at. Hov wasn't a punchline. He wasn't a joke. Niggas tried to turn Drake into a joke. So I'm just saying the drop was steeper.
He got Super Bowl.
So the comeback
Summer Jam
for Drake was
Super
bigger. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
With Drake,
and I mean, like I said, I think there was an argument that Drake was in the battle, but I also get that the pressure and the moments being made, Drake had to respond he had way more shit to respond against, like, just than Ether. Like, if Drake just had to respond to Not Like Us, it would have been a lot. Like, it would have been as much pressure. But the fact that it was the Grammys, the fact that it was the pop out, the fact that it was the Super Bowl, the fact that it was Lucian Granger, Dr. Dre, the fact that it was so many people tied into this moment that was invested into this moment, like it definitely was. I wouldn't say it was a steeper fall. I don't even think Drake really fell off. I don't even think they got close to burying him. Like, I just don't. Like, even when, like I said, 100 gigs and shit you seen was still trending. Like, most of his music, like, No Face, that shit was making noise. Niggas just was trying to ignore it as much as they could. But with that being said, like, no, like, the potential loss of going through that battle and being the loser, Drake definitely had to overcome more, especially with, like I said, having to deal with just more than just the song. Like, I'm sure he performed Ether maybe a couple of times, but it wasn't like the pop out. It wasn't Amazon produced with 18 different cameras, everybody from West Coast, LeBron. Like, it, bro, like they really tried to make a story, bro, like a big ass narrative. Like, this nigga Kendrick said, hide your kids from LeBron, keep your kids away, Curry, keep your kids away. And then you got LeBron showing up to the pop out, like, and LeBron supposed to be Drake's best friend, which that in itself shows like a certain, like, maybe I do agree with Kendrick. Like, even if it's not what LeBron trying to say, bro, you know how narratives get pushed. And it ain't about what's going on, it's about perception. I literally said this earlier at work. And the perception could be easy, like, you know what? Well, maybe he did pick a side and he's choosing that no, Drake may be rated one of these days. So it's like, when you talk about the comeback that Drake had to come from, like, I wouldn't even say comeback once again. I don't think he died or had to come back from much, but the potential loss if he wasn't who he was and stuff like that. No, Drake completely definitely had the bigger deficit to climb out of, essentially, without trying to contradict myself.
Drake did was far more impressive because of how far he fell. In the
Absolutely.
I think that's still a sign of the times because the Super Bowl didn't have rap shows. That, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's all a sign of the times.
But even they did.
Yeah, and that's just honestly being unfair to the moment that Drake had to go through. Like, you play who's in front of you, and yeah, Jay-Z didn't have to deal with that, and maybe he could have dealt with it just as well, but that ain't what happened. Drake had to deal with Jay-Z also being a part of putting Drake on, and what that may even look like, and the perception of what that even looks like, bro. Like, it was so many, like, pieces of the puzzles and 1,000 different stories going on from just the conversation of the beef, bro. And it was all stemming to trying to really get Drake out of there. Most of the narratives was not positive towards Drake. I can't say that I was there with the Jay-Z shit. I just don't think it's the same.
Nas wouldn't have got it. He wouldn't have been up there performing the Ether
rap shows. That, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's all a sign of the times.
But even they did. Nas wouldn't have got it. He wouldn't have been up there performing the Ether at the Super Bowl.
That's probably true.
So even if he did,
but see, some of the stuff you're saying in regards to that is how I feel about the chart shit. Because all this shit, it's a sign of the times. Don't get me wrong. Today, that's impressive to have all of that, but it's the sign of the times. Like Corey just said, throw out 1,000 songs, you're gonna most likely chart.
That's not true. That's not true.
That's definitely not true, bro. Chris Brown has dropped a shitload of music on his albums, and that shit's not charting like Drake's charting. That's just a very disingenuous take, or a very misinformed take, I'll say. Like, not everybody could drop 40 songs. Like, we see YoungBoy. Where the fuck YoungBoy? YoungBoy, whether he dropped 40 songs on one album or he dropped 200 songs in 1 year, them hoes just don't chart. Them hoes just not spamming the charts. Like, to be able to spam the charts, it takes a certain level of greatness, whether it's your albums, and Drake having 13 albums at this moment constantly, like, presently streaming, Or we talk about it was 40 out of 42 songs that hit the charts from a project. No, that's something that no one has ever done because it's such a phenomenal feat. Yeah, there's other people that's done just as phenomenal shit, and I'm not trying to say Drake is the only one ever to do phenomenal shit. I'm not trying to say that, but to act like what that nigga just did was it utterly insane. You gotta stop, bro, and just like give a nigga his flowers, bro. Like, I'm sorry, you just have to. If Kendrick on GNX would have sold 1 million first week, nigga, it wouldn't have been shit I could say. It would have been shit I could say. I could have talked about I'm blue in the face about turning TV off is repetitive, or any of them other songs that was just West Coast shit was super repetitive. It wouldn't have mattered if the nigga did a million first week. Even if it was 500, 700, like I wouldn't be able to say shit. So it's like when certain niggas do, like when you see certain feats that's like unfathomable, bro. I know it's easy to go to like, oh, anybody could have did that just to like, I guess, kind of dull down somebody's moment. But let's be real. Let's be fair, bro. This is utterly impressive.
That's not true. That's not true.
Him.
My nigga, he got 43 songs on the album, or 44, something like that.
Whatever it is.
In fairness,
40 something.
In fairness, we just saw Taylor Swift have a similar situation a couple years ago where every single one of her songs was on the top 10.
Look at the name you just mentioned.
But that's all we're saying.
That's what's speaking. But y'all miss what we're saying. Y'all speaking to the solid times.
42 or 42 out of 100 songs is something that not that many people in the world could pull off.
When Mike,
I think that's true. I think that's
what we're saying. When Mike,
he doesn't say anybody could do it.
When Mike did his album, every song on Thriller charted, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was the sign of the times. 9 songs, all charted, cool. Today, someone of that magnitude, where it's easier to stream records instead of having to go to the store and buy, you're going to most likely chart.
Brother, there's only been a couple people that you could say Taylor Swift, she got all 10 out of the top 10. That's been a thing that could be done a long time, and people do not do that. Like, let's be real. Even I have to go back. Let's do some research real quick. Let's do some real research real quick. So I just did some quick research. Like I said, they said Thriller. They brought up Thriller. I could have maybe looked up some more albums, but I didn't want to be here too long. With Thriller, 7 out of the top 10, which is hella impressive. I'm not trying to act like that's not a feat, but it's not 10 out of 10, 9 out of 10, or even look at going to like 40 records, you're going 30 out of 40, like, or whatever it is, like that. Like, it's crazy shit that he was doing. I want to say it was like 20 songs in the top 30, and then the rest was somewhere in the top 100. Like, that's different. Then I looked at a couple of peers just to kind of, make the point home. I looked up Damn, which I think would be the best thing to look at because I feel like that's his best album. Oh yeah, Humble and DNA went 1 and 4, and then you got Love, Loyalty, and DNA. I mean, Love and Loyalty were 14 and 11. That's his highest charted shit. So you just can't be like anybody could do this, bro. Let's be fair to a nigga when he do something that's different, bro. The Fall Off, I didn't even mean to look up the Fall Off, but no, I didn't mean to look up the Fall Off. They had 2-6. And that was it. That charted at 16. That album dropped this year. This supposed to be Big 3. He wasn't even, and that was a lengthy project. What is 2 albums? Pretty much. Wait, I want to say 10 to 12 songs each or something like that. I don't want to be overdoing it, but it was over 20 songs if I'm not mistaken. Or very close to it. Only 1 song charted. Let's be real when a nigga doing something that's other niggas not, bro. And these elite, these are the closest people to him. This is also the offseason. This is a little better, 2, 5, 7, and 8, which that's impressive. I'm not gonna act like that's not impressive, but Drake did 9 out of 10, 9 out of 10. Then you go to the top 10 out of 20, another 8 in there. Then you go to 20 out of 30, there's another 7 in there. It's like, nah, bro. Let's give this man his credit, bro. Let's give this man his credit and stop playing.
I'm not saying
if you're one of those 2 or 3 people.
If you're one of those 2 or 3 people, and I'm not discrediting because I still think it's still impressive.
It's not a diss.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Portland Trail Blazers. We got it.
Wait, you didn't use Glazers just now.
Yeah, Jesus. Y'all having a glaze off.
It's not even a glaze
Like
off.
when all the bitches trying to suck the same dick. It's like, no, he did sell. No, that's what we said. No, he got joints. No, he got man joints.
Yo, do not put Glazers as a part of any Drake conversation.
Yeah, Joe ruined that. But with that being said, man, I had some good combos going, but Joe Budden wanted to make some shit, try to make a joke out of a good conversation. And, hey, he's the host of his show. He can do whatever he wants. He has millions. I can't hate on him. But with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all tuning in, loving the subs. I'm loving the comments. I'm loving the interaction on Twitter. Y'all follow me on Emerald Thoughts with a Z on Twitter. I really can't say enough how much I appreciate it. We're on the road to 1,000, man. I'm dropping every day as much as I can, and some days even twice a week. So with that being said, man, we out. Y'all have a good one. Peace.